Hi, I'm Emily Petroff, and I am the founder of Revenue Canvas. Thank you so much for opting in. I look forward to being on this journey together. The information that we're going to talk about today, as we said before, is about perception. And for me, when I learned about this, it was absolutely just so powerful and amazing. It really was life-changing, and it's something that I continually pay attention to, and it's a work that I do with a lot of my clients. And so I think that you're going to get some value out of it. And so we're going to just jump right in and get started. So one of the first things, step one, it's kind of a 4-step process. Perception for me is reality. Knowing that about people doesn't mean that it has to become my truth, but knowing that where they are is where they are, and I've got to get to them from where I am so that we can make some headway in getting to that next level or uncovering that layer, that next layer for them. So the first step is deciding, thinking about the characteristics, how you want to be perceived. And for me, I made a list of a couple of them. For me, I want to be perceived as honest. I want to be perceived as authentic, hardworking, trustworthy, motivating or inspiring, caring and compassionate, and dependable. And those are only 7, and I recommend that you choose about 7 to 10. You don't have to choose that many, but sometimes if you do that, it gives you a good, pretty well-rounded, how do you want to be perceived? And so then, so step 1 is choosing the criteria. And if you do this for yourself, choosing the criteria is important. If you're doing this for your team, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can allow them to choose their own criteria, or you can decide on the criteria of your ideal employee and what that might look like for you, and then you can have them rate themselves based on that. So that takes us to step number 2, which is you want to go back through and say, okay, on an average week, how often am I honest? How often am I authentic? How often am I hardworking? And you want to go through and just be really, this is an opportunity for you to be really honest with yourself about how you feel. And so I would say that for me, I feel like on an average week, I am really honest, like the kind of honest that I want to be, probably about 90% of the time. And you can use either a percentage rating system, or you can use like on a 1 to 10 scale. Doesn't matter. Either way is just fine. I like to use percentages because it gives me kind of, when I give it to the people that I'm going to give it to, which is step number 3, it gives me an opportunity to kind of see where I feel like I'm at. And so percentages for me just make a lot more sense. So I'm authentic. I would say I'm authentic 98% of the time. Truly acting from my raw, real self. As you'll see, I and ah a lot in the videos and the audio programs that I do. I'm a student. It's something that I'm working on. I'm not some buttoned-up professional speaker. What you see is what you get. This is who I am. Hardworking. I feel like I'm hardworking 95% of the time. I love what I do, and it a lot of times doesn't feel like work to me, so I work really hard. Trustworthy. How often am I trustworthy? I would say that I feel like I'm the kind of trustworthy on an average week that I want to be 90% of the time. Motivating and inspiring. I feel like I'm 95% of the time on an average week. Caring and compassionate. I would say 90%. And that one, I could actually even be a little bit more honest with myself. Let's just say 85% of the time I'm caring and compassionate. Dependable, I would say 90% of the time I'm dependable. The other thing that sometimes is interesting to do to add to this list is to put up a few things as we're all growing and we're all trying to go to that next level, or I hope we are. We might put up a couple of things that maybe we aren't so good at, that we're aspiring to be, or that we would like to be perceived at. These are the things that I, a long time ago, decided that I wanted to be really good at, and so I've worked really hard on them. So there might be things that, put on my list that I'm working toward. So that's something, if you're not an energetic person or you're not an enthusiastic person, but that's something you want, that's a quality that you want, or organized maybe, I hear that's one I hear a lot from a lot of clients that I work with. If that's a quality or a characteristic about you that you want to be perceived as, maybe you put that up there. And so maybe for you, I'll put that up there for myself. Organized. And so I feel like for me, I'm organized the way that I truly want to be perceived as being organized. Let's say maybe 75% of the time, right? So that's something that I could do even a little bit better at, okay? So you have your criteria, and now step 1 is developing your criteria. Step 2 is rating yourself on that criteria, your percentage, having that there. Step 3 is when you actually give it to the people that you want their opinion, right? So for an individual, it might be your friends, it might be your family, it might be your significant other, it might be your children. If you're a leader, you may want feedback from the people that work for you. You might want feedback from your coworkers, the ones that are on your same level. You might want feedback from your boss or your boss's boss. Whatever that looks like for you, you're going to give those people an opportunity to rate you the way that you just rated yourself. Now, if you're somebody that takes things personally, if you followed me at all or you've had any kind of exposure to me, you know that one of my sayings that I adopted from my mentor was Q-tip. And so that's quit taking it personally, right? It's not about you. Stop making it about you. We all have our own stuff and we're in the middle of our stuff. So it's not about you. So this exercise, you very much have to be in touch and in tune with not taking this stuff personally, because if you do, you're going to be wrecked. The information that they share with you is an amazing opportunity to take your life to the next level. And if you are going to get butthurt about it, don't even begin. Just stop now. Wait for something else, because this is not the exercise for you. So the next step is getting it out to those people. And so for leaders that want feedback from the people that you work with, whether they're your staff or your coworkers, a lot of times people are too nice. And you've probably heard me talk about this if you followed me at all. Nice. Nothing inside me cares enough to tell you the truth. And so that's another acronym. I'm a big fan of acronyms. We're conditioned from a very young age to be really nice to people, to not tell them, how we really feel or what we really think. A lot of times somebody will say, well, what do you think about this? And rather than giving them our real opinion because we're so worried about hurting their feelings, we tell them what they want to hear. And that, to me, puts us in a place where it creates, mediocrity. It creates this place of not being able to grow and develop. And so this exercise can help remove some of those things. So the object is to allow people to give you feedback in a way that doesn't make them feel like they're going to have a target on their back. Once they do give you the feedback, they need to know that you're not going to take things personally. This is an opportunity for you to be able to grow and develop as a person. And a lot of times that can't be done unless you have a coach or someone who has already coached some of those people, so they know not to take it personally. They know that being honest is something that you want to have happen. Unless you have somebody that can facilitate that for you, don't do it in a group setting, because it can be very, very damaging, and you won't get the real raw feedback that you need to get to really take your life to the next level or to be able to see things that you can't see now. So one of the ways that I've developed to be able to do that is to put it on just an Excel spreadsheet. Take all of the criteria that you developed from step 1 and put it on a spreadsheet, and then in the left-hand column, and then on the columns to the right, go ahead and just use your rating scale. So if you used a 1 to 10 scale, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you use percentages, maybe you go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way on up. Or you can just go from 10 to 20 or 20 to 30. However you want to, however you rated yourself, you want to make sure that they have the same opportunity to rate you in that way. And then leave it in a place or have them pass it around, the break room, or leave it somewhere over the course of a week, somewhere where people can go and anonymously checkmark their box that they feel like you are. So for example, if on the spreadsheet The first column is all of the things, so honest, authentic, hardworking. And then the rating system, if they go in and they're able to check in the first box, they're able to check, well, I feel like you are honest, 70% of the time. And all they have to do is just put a little check mark. They don't have to write their name. They don't have to, it's very, very much an anonymous opportunity. That removes, that helps them be more honest, and it removes the judgment that you might have on Sally, who you don't have a great relationship with her to begin with. And so you look at who rated you what, and you try to decipher who it was. That's not important. That's actually taking us into step number 4. So many people get caught up in, well, why do they feel that way? And who said that? If you're going to get caught up in that, again, don't do this exercise. That is not the purpose and or the intent. Yes, some people, because of your relationship with them, maybe are going to score you higher than others or vice versa, but it's about taking all of the information that you get. If you have 5 people that work for you, or 10 people or 20 people or whatever it might be, taking all of that information and synthesizing it so that you can get a real picture as to where they feel like you are and where you feel like you are, and how big is that gap? What does that look like? If I feel like I'm honest 90% of the time, and I put this poll out to my clients and I say, how often on an average week when we meet do you feel like I'm honest? And they say 70%, there is a 20% gap, and I need to figure out what it is that's going on that makes them feel like that. What can I do to improve that? How can I take myself to the next level and put something in place, put an action plan in place? And we'll talk about, putting an action plan in place and how to move from the stage where you're at and close that gap, bridge the gap a little bit. So that'll be kind of in the next video. We'll talk about that. But for now, step 1, let's just review a little bit. Step 1 is developing the criteria that you would like to be perceived as. Step number 2 is rating yourself either on a percentage or a 1 to 10 scale, however you do that. Step number 3 is getting all of that information out to the people that you want the feedback from. How do they perceive you? Step number 4 is kind of 2 parts. You want to synthesize that information, get rid of don't get butthurt about it, don't get caught up in the why and who, but taking that information and looking at, okay, this is how they feel, this is how I feel, and how big is that gap, and now what am I going to do about it, and what can I put in place to close and or bridge that gap? So that is the perception exercise that I feel like has helped me, has helped a lot of my clients, and can be tremendously powerful if you actually go out there and implement it. So good luck to you. If you have questions or comments, please don't hesitate to post them right directly to my Facebook or to the blog. Either one is just fine, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, have an amazing day.